All right, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if we got BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pin video, home video, somewhere on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if the boudoir photography business is rising, we're probably bringing in everyone across the entire intent spectrum here. High intent on the left to low intent on the right. And, if a boudoir photography business is falling, most likely we're missing chunks of people that we're not bringing in through this boudoir, somewhere in this intent spectrum. So over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps. So we're talking about BSS here. Get to that in a little bit. And highest intent peeps, they're searching for a boudoir photo shoot right now in their city on social media, social search, or on Google search. And we're over on the other end on the right, we got our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and that's getting in front of the lowest intent people in our city, which is actually the highest volume of people. But with that brand, we currently only work with the boudoir photographers running around 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, now on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. This is when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're on page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dead right off the bat, man. Because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are page 1 search only. So approximately 80% of searches, I mean, dude, that's literally the bulk of the market. This is who we're focused on. This is who we care about. And that's page 1 only for them. And 1 slot on page 1, that still ain't good enough because there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If 9 are other boudoir photographers, that means a buyer, a potential buyer, is simply going to be, click and open everyone's link, everyone's website, blah, 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 blah. And actually, getting price quotes from everyone, price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone. Probably won't even remember who they reached out to. So there'll be so many people. Page 1 only though, so we're assuming the bulk, that we're only focused on the 80% here, approximately 80%. That are page 1 only peeps. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It's a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So yeah, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Someone gets a new iPhone and they throw out their Google My Business profile that they are now a boudoir photographer. They got their boudoir photography website, competing with us to rank on page 1. Okay, cool. Also, someone gets a new camera. They're competing with us to, now they're posting in the mom groups on Facebook saying they now offer boudoir as well. And so market saturation, market always gets more and more saturated. Markets always get more and more saturated over time. And we saw, big market saturation when COVID hit. People lost their jobs, couldn't work, still needed to earn money though. And everyone's got a great camera attached to their phone. That's when a ton of boudoir photographers hopped in, making the market more and more saturated. Now, the false belief of page 1 inequality, this one basically nobody knows about because the implicit belief of page 1 equality, which is false, was kind of just, accepting that, or kind of implicitly agreeing without even thinking about it, that, yeah, every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1. And if I lose, if I was on page 1 but I got knocked off by a new boudoir photographer with their website, that's what happens. And, I've seen that this is the number one, from what I've seen, this is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's simply accepting this as, assuming it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to have this few number of slots on page 1 of Google. It's not normal to, be knocked off page 1 and just lie there like that. Google actually will give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to take with our effort. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in 10 days by using this new method I've developed. And so the false belief of page 1 equality, or AKA falsely believing that there's nothing we can do to hop back up on page 1 from page 2, has been, from what I've seen, the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. Because now we know approximately 80% of searches will never even see you if you're on page 2. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we're building up our universe here on the left side, our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1, the false belief of page 1 equality, which makes people believe nothing's possible, nothing can help them, but it's kind of a box that they're stuck in. But they break through the box, they punch through the box, They can see outside and they see, oh, there's a solution. Because finally, we did find a solution because we invented it. Discovered that BSS Boudoir search sameness is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We saturate social search for the highest intent keywords that boudoir buyers are searching right now to buy a boudoir photo shoot in our city. Highest intent, closest to the money, easiest to convert, highest conversion rates. And the interesting thing about SQL methodology is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully outcompete a saturated market, and it can work relatively quickly. Obviously, the one other solution would be brand, having a brand, but dude, that takes like minimum 5 years or 10 years to get. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is taking more people's jobs. We need maximum page one on Google now. So, how does SQ methodology successfully overcome and still grow a business with massive market saturation of boudoir photographers entering the market? So, let's say we got a million boudoir photographers, and we're in Austin, Texas. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're a boudoir photographer, and everyone's trying to rank page one on Google, because that is still where approximately 90% of searches go. And we decided to max out SQ'd methodology. So we're ranking for the highest buyer intent keywords across social search, so across all the social networks. Let's say we're taking like the first 300 slots, and as a result, we are these are kind of the small streams, the small rivers off the backside of the Andes that then flow into the Amazon River, big Amazon River, which is page one on Google. So we're also taking the first 300 slots page one on Google. Well, first 300 slots on Google, 10 organic slots per page on Google. That'd be the first 30 pages. We're taking them all up. And so anytime a buyer searches for a boudoir photographer in Austin, anywhere on social or on Google, basically like on Google, I gotta go to page like 31 to essentially see any of our competitors. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page two. They're page one only searches. So basically no one's going to page 31. And so in this case, even if there's a million boudoir photographers, whose boudoir photography business is growing? Ours. Well, actually maxed out SQ'd methodology. We took over all this social search. We saturated it, and as a result, saturates Google search as well on Google page one. So, and this thing works way faster than building a brand. And also, SQ methodology is the fastest way to build a brand. It helps to build a brand, cuts down the time on building a brand. So it's like extra benefit, long-term benefit with that. Now, once we treat BSS with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. So an initial benefit of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is awesome because this happens instantly. For every slot we take on page one on Google, we're kicking another boudoir photographer off and essentially making them invisible because we know that, and approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page two. They stay they're page one only searches. So we're essentially making an entire competitor disappear. So this is like an initial bonus that we get right ASAP, along with our our slots on page one that we get. Now page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And with this, we actually want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one. And when we do that, we want to hit recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 because basically all the other boudoir photographers will, they'll have 1 out of 10 if they're even on page one. And so our 3 versus their 1, we're going to look amazing. Kind of subconsciously, buyers going to say, oh, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over? Maybe they'll only click on our 3 links, and not even look at any of our competitors. Who knows? There's also the very, very small chance someone may have 2 slots on page one. So do 3 slots, basically dominating everyone, no matter who's on page one. And that's boudoir search visibility. And we also know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer VBP. So we got our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, caused by the twin horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution. SQ'd methodology works way faster than 5 to 10 years to build a brand. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results using basically, so my results using SQ'd methodology. I want to rank for the keyword term BLCS boudoir. I want to rank as much as I could page one on Google. So go here to the invisible slots, or the organic slots. We got slot one here, me. Slot two here, me. Slot three here, me. Slot four here, TikTok, me. Slot five here, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one. And we actually did this all with S-cubed methodology, pure S-cubed. We did not, in 10 days. So, okay, I know these are results I got. So now to the main course here. We want to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness for these two Google searches. So, all right, we're going back here. So first we're looking at boudoir photographer in Middletown, Delaware. So let's see. So I'm going to go to the organics. So here we go. Boom, they got one. Boom, they got two. Boom, they got three. Boom, they got four. I believe this he has them as well. Yep, boom, they got five. And okay, I believe this is them as well. They got six. Boom, they got seven. I don't think that's. Hold on, did I miss one? One, two, three, four. That's sponsored. They got five. They got six. They got seven. They got eight. They do not have nine. They got 10. All right, so this is what we want to shoot for. Well, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, but we got 9 out of 10 here. This is perfect. Someone searching this, who are they going with? Who are they going with? There's only two options in the organic searches. And I got, number 9 here, Elevate Creative Studio. So this is perfect. Wonder how much more work we need to do to get a 10 out of 10. But all right, so we definitely do not have BSS for this one. So we don't have BSS for that. Let's see the larger city though. So local, 9 out of 10, fantastic. We do not have BSS. Now we're going for kind of the largest city nearby. So that'd be Wilmington, Delaware. All right, so let's see. Boom, we got one. So we got one. We got 1 out of 10. Dude, we got BSS. We got BSS for the city. For the city search. So we got local search and city search we look at. We definitely got BSS. Here, we got 1 out of 10. And this is exactly what S-cubed methodology was built to solve. So going back. So first search does not have BSS. First search was amazing, 9 out of 10. Second search, we got 1 out of 10. We got BSS. We got 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. We got to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. That's our goal. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, so you've done you've done your local search, you've done your city search for the highest intent keywords that a boudoir buyer would be searching, and you either have BSS for one of them, or for one of them, or both, you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google, and you understand the false belief of page 1 equality, and you're like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. We can actually take as many slots as we want, because Google will give them to us if we put in the work. And so you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is literally exactly what you've been waiting for. And you're like, yes, this is the perfect solution for me. So I got to use this thing. And you understand the market saturation. The two prongs, people get new iPhones, people get new cameras, kind of the gear saturating the market. But when you actually look at the outcomes of S-cubed methodology, you're saying, okay, first page, yeah, more kind of the initial benefits, more page one slots, and secondarily, kicking more competitors out of page one slots and off to page two, effectively making them invisible. So you're liking those initial benefits, and you're looking ahead from kind of at this market saturation thing, and you're seeing AI is taking more and more people's jobs. You're like, oh, there's kind of going to be a much higher increasing number of boudoir photographers entering the marketplace, and over and over time as AI takes more people's jobs. That's on top and above kind of standard new gear people entering the marketplace. So you're seeing, man, you decide you're going to fortify your slot on page one. Literally have so many slots on page one that you actually have like backup links in waiting that Google wants to rank on page one but can't because we've taken so many slots that literally kind of the new peeps that come into the market will never even be able to rank on page one on Google. So it's kind of like you're saying that you also want to use that SQ methodology, which it's perfect for, to kind of fortify those levees. Like down in New Orleans, Louisiana, they got the levees to keep the ocean out. You want to set up your boudoir page one domination levees. So you're seeing SQ methodology is perfect for that, and you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need those things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future kind of future benefits of successfully executing an SQ methodology every single day, which is every single day we execute it correctly. We are actually we're creating these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, like attached to our brand, kind of like columns like the Parthenon in Greece, or spokes going to the middle of the hub of the bike tire. And these things are basically AI mindshare. So every day we're building that up, building it up, and increasing the probability we're showing up here, the AI overview, the most premium placement right now, showing only one slot, the primary slot. I mean, this is going to help get buyers, obviously. And the secondarily, kind of the other longer term benefit is every day we do this correctly, we're increasing the probability that standard AI search and all these different AI search apps recommend us as well. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. And, Google's still approximately 80% of all search, but I haven't done standard Google search in probably like a year. I've always been using the AI overview button. It's basically like summarize it for me. I don't want to read nothing. And so you're seeing that. You're seeing people use AI. It's literally more and more and more every single day. And so you need to be increasing the probability you're showing up on AI search. And dude, last time I searched for boudoir photographer with AI search, I literally brought up 3 of them. But then I actually went like through Google and all these different searches to find how kind of like manually how many are out there in the city. And there's approximately like 60. So dude, we gotta get on these top 3 slots. And again, what's the best solution out there that helps with that? SQ's methodology. It helps give all these benefits. And you're also seeing that you've decided that you're going to be the first mover in your city on using SQ methodology, because my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city and lock everyone else out. So you're saying you can get all these initial benefits, get all these future benefits, and lock out all your competitors from using this strategy, and build up kind of those invisible thematic keyword column momentum, like back-end AI mindshare, while your competitors have no idea what's going on. And we're able to put so much distance between you and your current competitors, and definitely any future competitors, that makes it a no-brainer. And conversely, if one of your competitors was to come with me first, and I would lock you out, then you're also seeing you would actually have to rederive S-cubed methodology all on your own. You have no idea if you had derived it or rederived it correctly or not. And then you'd have to successfully equal our execution every single day. But if you did that, you would simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor would have already gotten ahead of you with. And so to kind of close the gap, you'd actually have to out execute us by like 2 or 3x every single day and begin pulling those, invisible thematic keyword columns, momentum, mindshare, AI mindshare we had already been achieving away from us and towards yourself. And you still would not even have 100% confidence you've derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place. And so doing all that, like, dude, who's got 60 to 80 hours in a day to do all that stuff? So you decide to screw that. You're going to be the first mover in this. You don't want to deal with a competitor getting it. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. And I'll shoot me a DM when the hospital is open for new patient intake. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. So you cannot DM me even if you wanted to. And no, you cannot work with me right now, even if you wanted to. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using our SQ'd methodology.